It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update, as Britt Baker discusses AJ Lee potentially joining AEW. AEW Rampage beats Smackdown in a number of important demographics, and Kenny Omega teases Adam Cole to AEW. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first... On the most recent episode of his 83 Weeks podcast, former WCW President Eric Bischoff discussed last week's AEW debut of CM Punk and expressed his excitement for not only AEW but the wrestling business in general. He feels that there hasn't been this much buzz around the industry in a long time and said, "I'm excited as hell for AEW, and again, I don't know CM Punk. I've never really met him or talked to him, but clearly a great talent, and I'm just excited that there's this much buzz around wrestling again. It's been a long time since there's been across-the-board buzz about the industry in general. I'm really happy for AEW, in particular Tony Khan and wrestling fans all over the country. And I'm actually kind of happy for WWE because I think they need a kick in the ass. Sometimes pressure is the kind of motivation that works best." Bischoff then compared the current wrestling landscape to the Monday Night War era between WCW and WWF and said, "Let's hope this is the beginning of a re-emergence, if you will, of what we experienced in the Monday Night Wars. AEW isn't going head to head, it's not quite the same thing, but at this point with the kind of buzz that you had on Friday and what I did see over the weekend on social media, it may be well on our way. I hope that's the case. He's authentic, that's the only thing I would say about him. He is very, very authentic and there's no one else quite like him. There's others who try to be kind of like him, but he's authentic and the audience reacts accordingly. I love it, I think it's great." I think it's fairly common knowledge by those that watch this channel that I don't really watch WWE TV, but that doesn't mean I want to see them fail or do bad or whatever. I want to like it, I want to watch it, but unfortunately right now it's unwatchable. So I think in this case Bischoff is right, and hopefully this rise of AEW will give them the kick that they need to push on and actually start producing interesting shows again. It looks like we're heading into a new war, so to speak, as it looks like AEW's growth isn't slowing down anytime soon. And speaking of CM Punk, he appeared on ESPN Chicago's Cap and J Hook show to discuss his AEW debut on Friday's AEW Rampage, The First Dance. One of the most talked about parts of the segment was this crying fan, with an unfortunate amount of people mocking him on social media after the fact. Punk addressed the haters during the interview and said, "I'm a Chicago sports guy. I cried when the Cubs won the World Series. I cried when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, the time that I was alive when they won the Cup, not back in the 60s. You know, it means a lot. And I think it means a lot because I'm so attached to Chicago and sports especially. So anybody who's making fun of that dude, you're making fun of me too. There's nothing wrong with being emotional at a sporting event or anything you like. I'll cry at a Marvel movie." And I think it's safe to say that he's not the only person who got emotional over Punk's return to wrestling, and people mocking him are likely just projecting their own insecurities. The fan has been offered gifts from the wrestling community, as an artist who makes custom sneakers offered him a pair of custom CM Punk shoes. GOY Kicks tweeted, "I need wrestling Twitter to help me contact this dude. I'll do a free pair of CM Punk sneakers, $1,000 value for this legend. Those are our tiers, all of ours. Love this dude. Make this happen, wrestling fans." The account then confirmed that the fan did get in touch, although his identity is being kept private. ECW legend Tommy Dreamer has also reached out to him, offering him tickets to Impact Bound for Glory, as well as something else even more special, and he tweeted, "Crying CM Punk fan, get hold of me or Busted Open Radio. I'm gonna fly you to Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. I love your passion. I will also hit up CM Punk and Tony Khan for tickets or a meet and greet. F the haters online, we appreciate you." It's currently unclear if the fan has seen the tweet yet, but it sounds like he could be meeting the man himself. Next up in CM Punk related news, AEW Women's World Champion Britt Baker appeared at the Planet Comic Con event this week and was asked about Punk's wife AJ Lee potentially joining AEW. AJ retired from wrestling in 2015, stating permanent damage to her cervical spine, goals outside of wrestling, as well as feeling caught in the middle of the CM Punk WWE heat as reasons for hanging up her boots. When Baker was questioned about the addition of AJ to the AEW Women's division, she replied, I was a big AJ Lee fan. One of the first moves I asked my trainer to teach me when I was training was her finisher, the Black Widow, so that would be really cool. Again, it's given the fans what they want. I think for the fans to see both of them, Punk and Lee, in a wrestling ring again in 2021, which is not in WWE, that alone would be evolutionary. Baker then hinted at interest in a mixed tag match, teaming with her boyfriend Adam Cole to take on AJ Lee and her husband CM Punk. The first line of CM Punk's return promo put over Britt Baker, so it's likely that the interest is mutual, although it's currently unknown if AJ has any interest stepping back in the ring. Perhaps the aforementioned cervical spine damage could prevent it, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you drop a like on the video as it helps me out a lot, and make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head, hopefully, towards 100,000 subscribers. But now, let's press play on the video. In yesterday's video, we discussed the ratings for AEW Rampage: The First Dance, which of course saw the debut of CM Punk in AEW. The show exceeded all expectations, seeing a 52.57% increase from last week's show in the average rating, as well as a 76.6% increase in the 18 to 49 key demographic. We now have an update from Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, who does some great work with the numbers surrounding the wrestling business, and tweeted some interesting information in regards to how Rampage compared to Smackdown, which aired on Fox right before the show. Brandon revealed, "The opening quarter with the return of CM Punk was watched by 1.341 million viewers on average, and 847,000 in the demo, which is a 0.65. Rampage had more viewers than Smackdown, with the viewers between 18 and 34 by 6%, 231,000 to Smackdown's 218,000. Rampage led Smackdown with male viewers 35 to 49 also by 11%. 316,000 to 284,000. Smackdown led in 18 to 49 because of a 63% lead with female viewers 35 to 49, 237,000 to Rampage's 145,000. With this said, Rampage managed to beat Smackdown in some important demographics on Friday, showing the growth and the drawing power of CM Punk. This is extraordinary considering that not only was Rampage shown on TNT, which is of course a cable channel, therefore available in less homes, but it also aired in a later time slot, which naturally sees less people tuning in. It's fascinating to think how Punk's debut would have drew had all things been equal, with Rampage showing in the same time slot, as well as being available in the same amount of households. We'll never know, but it's certainly interesting to think. As we discussed in yesterday's video, there has been some teases from those within AEW that Adam Cole could be set to become All Elite. Now, another AEW star has dropped a Cole-related tease, this time coming from the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. Omega took to Instagram to post a photo of a dead Adam Cole after being killed off of being the Elite in a comedic skit before he signed with WWE in 2017. Cole was of course a regular part of the web series and was a member of the Elite during its time as a branch of the Bullet Club. This follows the Young Bucks changing their bio to a YouTube link that takes you to a video about seances, hinting that they're going to contact Cole's spirit and bring him back not only to being the Elite, but to the Elite in AEW. Cole's WWE contract is said to have expired or close to it after he signed a short extension last month to see him through to NXT TakeOver 36 this past Sunday. On the show, he lost to former Undisputed Era teammate Kyle O'Reilly in what will likely be his last NXT match. Cole is said to have been offered a role on WWE's main roster if he decides to stay, but there is also clearly interest from AEW, where many of his friends as well as his girlfriend Britt Baker currently work. There is still no word on what his decision will be, but we're likely close to finding out. And before you go, make sure you check out my video where I discuss the secret wrestling returns of CM Punk during his so-called retirement.